Have you ever found yourself in a relationship, perhaps one you deeply value, yet a quiet, subtle thought persistently whispers in the back of your mind, a thought that suggests you are, in some way, more evolved than your partner? Perhaps you are deeply invested in your personal growth, in spiritual practices, in understanding the intricate dance of the mind and emotions, while your partner seems content with a different rhythm, a different pace. You might be diligently cultivating your inner world, exploring the vast landscapes of Raja Yoga, understanding the interplay of karma and dharma, seeking a profound connection with your true self, your I. And then, you look across at the person sharing your life, and a quiet sense of frustration, or even a hint of judgment, begins to bloom. This isn't about blatant superiority, or a conscious attempt to diminish another. Often, it's a deeply uncomfortable, almost secret feeling. It manifests as the weariness of feeling like you're always the one initiating growth, the one striving for deeper understanding, the one grappling with the profound truths of existence. You might find yourself subtly correcting, gently nudging, or even silently despairing that your partner doesn't get it. This feeling can creep in when you've just had a breakthrough in meditation, understanding a complex Vedic concept, or mastering a challenging emotional pattern, only to find your partner seemingly unaffected by similar internal stirrings. This leads to the acute pain of disillusionment, recognizing that the chemistry you once felt might be overshadowed by this perceived gap in conscious awareness. The question then arises, what is this subtle feeling? Is it a genuine reflection of disparate paths, or a more insidious trap of the ego, cleverly disguised as spiritual discernment? This is not about the crude outward expressions of arrogance, but the far more dangerous internal variety that can silently corrode the very foundation of intimacy and connection. It's the battle within, between the I that knows its infinite value and seeks genuine connection, and the mind's tendency to compare, to categorize, to elevate itself. You might feel the frustration and emptiness caused by his emotional unavailability, but perhaps you haven't yet observed how your own internal judgment contributes to that chasm. Our minds, in their complex dance, often seek validation. When we embark on a path of self-mastery, like Raja Yoga, we begin to distinguish between the I, the true self, the pure consciousness, and the non-I, the mind, emotions, body. As we gain clarity, there's a tempting pitfall to identify this newfound understanding not with the universal self, but with a refined sense of individual ego. This refined ego then projects itself onto the world, subtly judging others who do not appear to walk the same path or possess the same level of internal discipline. It's a very real anguish, this quiet sense of superiority, because it paradoxically isolates us from the very connection we crave. It reinforces the belief that something is wrong with the relationship, when the deeper issue might be within our own mind's interpretation of reality. We yearn for an unshakable sense of self-worth, an inner peace that transcends the ebb and flow of external circumstances. Yet, this internal judgment of our partner becomes a silent barrier to that very peace. It is a powerful desire to be able to establish clear and firm boundaries with love, without feeling guilt or fear of loss. But this sense of superiority subtly undermines that power by replacing true understanding with a critical lens. Today, we will delve into this precise dilemma. We will explore how the subtle trap of feeling more evolved than your partner can stem not from genuine insight, but from a particular form of spiritual pride. Drawing from the profound wisdom of Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita and the clear-sighted principles of Raja Yoga, we will uncover how this perception can hinder not only your relationship, but, more importantly, your own journey toward true emotional sovereignty. This is not about blaming yourself, nor is it about denying your growth. It is about understanding the mind's subtle mechanisms, how it can distort perception, and how we can use the power of the I and the will to overcome this particular challenge, transforming pain into a catalyst for spiritual growth. We seek to understand the purpose behind these challenges, to break patterns of repetition, and to truly love with devotion and surrender without losing our identity or our center of power. The path of self-discovery, of diving deep into the profound philosophies of Raja Yoga and Vedic wisdom, is truly transformative. As you learn to observe the mind, to discern the I from the non-I, you gain an incredible clarity about yourself and the world. You begin to understand the roots of attachment as a fluctuation of the mind, vritti, recognizing how craving and aversion bind us. This is a formidable journey, one that inherently sets you apart from those who have not yet embarked upon it. And it is precisely at this juncture that a subtle, yet potent illusion can take root, the illusion of spiritual superiority. This isn't the overt, arrogant boast of someone claiming to be better. No, this trap is far more insidious, cloaked in spiritual language and benevolent intentions. It's the quiet exasperation you feel when your partner doesn't seem to grasp a concept that feels utterly foundational to you. It's the silent sigh when their reactions seem driven by what you perceive as lower gunas, perhaps tamas, inertia, or rajas, passion and desire, while you strive for sattva, purity, clarity. This leads to the painful realization that you might be falling in love with a projection, an idealized version of your partner, rather than seeing them as they truly are in their current state of being. The Jasentien, mind, ever the trickster, will subtly convince you that your spiritual progress grants you a clearer, more enlightened perspective, almost a divine right to judge the state of another's consciousness. You find yourself thinking, if only he understood this Vedic principle, or if he just meditated, he wouldn't react that way. This thought, while seemingly innocuous, positions you as the one who knows better, creating an invisible barrier between you and your partner. It's the deep-seated fear that your intensity or depth of emotion is too much for him, which ironically can become a self-fulfilling prophecy when you hold him to a different spiritual standard. This internal dialogue creates the frustration and emptiness of his perceived emotional unavailability, but the real unavailability might be your own, cloaked in judgment. Krishna, in the Bhagavad Gita, speaks extensively about the pitfalls of ego, even the subtle ego of a spiritual seeker. He emphasizes that true wisdom lies in equanimity, in seeing the self in all beings, not in judging their external actions or apparent level of understanding. To believe you are more evolved is to identify with a refined aspect of the non-I, your spiritual knowledge, your practices, your insights, rather than resting in the pure I, which is beyond all attributes and comparisons. The I is the silent observer, the unconditioned self, which sees the divine spark in all, without judgment. When we identify with the non-I, our spiritual achievements, we fall into the same trap of attachment, albeit a more refined one. This is the confusion between a true connection of consciousness and a mere attachment to a romanticized ideal of how a partnership should look. The counterintuitive truth here is that this subtle judgment, far from elevating you, actually binds you. It reinforces the very patterns of repetition you wish to break. By labeling your partner as less evolved, you inadvertently attract experiences that confirm this belief, perpetuating a cycle of frustration. This internal struggle between the I, which knows its value, and the mind's tendency to seek external validation through comparison is the real battleground. The answer is not to diminish your own growth, but to observe this tendency of the mind without identifying with it. Consider this: Your mind is like a sophisticated instrument. When tuned by the will, it can perceive profound truths, but when left unchecked, it can fabricate elaborate narratives of separation, even from those closest to you. The moment you catch yourself in this thought, "I am more evolved," pause. Do not condemn the thought, nor embrace it. Simply observe it. See it as a fluctuation of the mind, vritti, that arises, and then, by the power of your will, gently return your attention to your own internal landscape. Focus on the vast, unconditioned space of your I. This practice of non-identification is the antidote to spiritual arrogance. It allows you to see your partner not through the lens of your own perceived spiritual progress, but through the clear, compassionate gaze of your true self, fostering a connection rooted in unconditional acceptance rather than conditional approval. This is how you begin to break the cycle of abandonment that you repeat by projecting your ideals onto another. It is the beginning of transforming the anxiety of waiting for him to change into a powerful energy of attraction that comes from your own inner peace. The profound wisdom of the Vedas teaches us that nothing in this existence is random. Every interaction, every connection, especially those as intimate as a romantic relationship, carries layers of purpose, woven by the intricate threads of karma and dharma. When we find ourselves entangled in the subtle trap of feeling more evolved than our partner, it's often because we are failing to perceive the deeper karmic and dharmic purpose embedded within the relationship itself. We are consumed by the pain of disillusion upon realizing that we fell for a projection, not the person they truly are, and this blindness prevents us from seeing the sacred lesson. Relationships are, in essence, our most potent mirrors. They reflect back to us not just our unaddressed wounds, our fears, and our attachments, but also our highest potential for growth. The frustration of repeating the same errors in different relationships, or even within the same one, is a clear signal from the universe. It's an invitation to understand that the perceived flaws or lack of evolution in your partner might be precisely the karmic assignment you need to purify your own consciousness. To evolve your I, your partner's journey, and their current state of being is not accidental in your life. It is a meticulously crafted scenario by the universe for your spiritual advancement. This is where the core of your you, self, needs to engage its will. The Bhagavad Gita teaches about performing one's dharma, one's spiritual duty or purpose, without attachment to the fruits of action. In a relationship, your dharma is to cultivate unconditional love, acceptance, and self-mastery, regardless of your partner's external state or perceived level of spiritual understanding. When you fall into the trap of spiritual arrogance, you become attached to the fruit of your partner's evolution. You want them to be as evolved as you, to see the world through your spiritual lens. This attachment, this expectation, creates suffering. It fuels the quiet anxiety of waiting for a response from him, as if your worth is tied to his spiritual mirroring. Consider the concept of the gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas, the three qualities of material nature. Your partner might be predominantly influenced by rajas, expressing themselves through passion and action, or tamas, exhibiting inertia or ignorance. Your own journey might be to cultivate sattva, the quality of purity and clarity. But true spiritual evolution, as taught in Raja Yoga, transcends even sattva. It is about becoming a pure observer, the I, untouched by the gunas. To judge your partner for their gunic expression is to still be caught within the play of the gunas yourself, identifying with your own sattvic qualities and subtly condemning theirs. It is the error of identifying your you, self, with the success or failure of the relationship, rather than seeing it as a field for your spiritual growth. The counterintuitive revelation is that your partner's apparent unawareness or lack of spiritual depth is not a barrier to your growth. but a catalyst. It forces you to cultivate qualities like patience, unconditional acceptance, and compassion that you might not otherwise develop if you were with someone perfectly aligned with your spiritual journey. This relationship, challenging as it may be, is your dharma. It's an opportunity to practice non-attachment to outcomes, to love simply because it is your nature to love, not because you expect a particular spiritual response. This is the practice of transcending the need for external validation, which is a key component of emotional sovereignty. A powerful practice here, rooted in Raja Yoga, is to reframe your perception. Instead of asking, "Why isn't he more like me?" ask, "What is this relationship teaching my I about unconditional acceptance, about patience, about seeing the divine in all forms, even those that challenge my perceptions?" This is about recognizing that this perceived disconnect is not meant to destroy you, but is your you asking to be heard, asking for you to lean into your sovereign power. Use the wisdom of karma to break a pattern. If you continually attract partners whom you perceive as less evolved, it might be your karma to learn radical acceptance, to release the need to control another's journey, and to find your own completeness within, independent of their path. This is the secret of Raja Yoga for dominating the anxiety of waiting and transforming it into a powerful energy of attraction. It is about using the silence or the unresponsiveness of your partner as a profound opportunity for introspection, a retreat for your you sovereign to truly find its center. The true essence of Raja Yoga is the mastery of the mind, the cultivation of the will, and the realization of the I as the sovereign center of your being. This path is not about elevating oneself above others, but about elevating oneself within oneself, becoming utterly self-contained and self-reliant. When the subtle thought of feeling more evolved than your partner arises, it is a clear signal that your mind, the non-I, is attempting to govern, rather than being governed by your true I. It's the constant battle within, between the I that knows its value and the mind that craves external validation, even spiritual validation through comparison. The core teaching here is that genuine power, authentic emotional sovereignty, does not come from trying to change or uplift another, but from cultivating a profound humility and discipline within your own mental landscape. The error 99% of women make is trying to control the mind of the other person before dominating their own. You might be constantly striving to be the perfect woman, interesting, calm, independent, yet still feeling like an option. This is because your focus, though subtle, is still external. The mind is a wild horse. If you don't master it, it will drag you through landscapes of comparison, judgment, and ultimately isolation. When the thought, "I am more evolved," surfaces, it's a vritti, a fluctuation of the mind, driven by a subtle form of ego. Your task as a practitioner of Raja Yoga is not to suppress this thought, but to observe it without judgment, without identification. Recognize it as a mental habit, a pattern of thinking, and then consciously, with the full force of your will, redirect your focus back to the I. Here's a powerful 3-step Raja Yoga technique for transmuting the anxiety and judgment that arise from this feeling into attraction and sovereignty. 1. Observe the internal dialogue. The next time you feel that subtle internal whisper of, "I'm more evolved," or "he just doesn't get it," consciously pause. Don't engage with the thought. Don't argue with it. And don't judge yourself for having it. Simply observe it. Notice the sensations in your body. Perhaps a tightness in your chest, a feeling of resignation. This is your non-I at work. Acknowledge it. This is the mind, comparing again. 2. Disidentify and center the I. Once you've observed the thought, consciously disidentify from it. Remind yourself, this thought is not who I am. I am the observer of this thought. I am the I, the pure consciousness, beyond all comparison and judgment. Feel yourself settle into your core, your center of power. This is the profound desire to feel whole and complete within yourself, seeing a relationship as a complement, not a necessity. 3. Cultivate humility and compassionate acceptance without enabling. From this centered place of the I, consciously extend a feeling of compassionate acceptance towards your partner, not because they deserve it based on your criteria, but because it is the nature of your true self to be expansive and loving. This is not about accepting less than you deserve or enabling unhealthy behavior. It's about releasing your attachment to their spiritual progress, being equal to yours. It means understanding that each soul is on its own unique journey, and your role is not to be their guru, but to be a mirror of unconditional presence. This is how Radha teaches us to love without losing our identity, by offering a conscious devotion that emanates from an unwavering sense of self. This practice recognizes that your power doesn't come from changing him, but from your unshakable inner peace, which doesn't depend on his actions or validation. It is the paradox of power. The less you need him to be a certain way, the more powerfully you radiate your authentic I, and paradoxically, the more deeply you are desired for your true essence. This is how you transform the frustrating cycle of hoping he will change into an active manifestation of your own inner strength. The silence, or the unresponsiveness you perceive from him, becomes a profound opportunity for you to turn inward, using it as a retreat for your sovereign I. This is the yogic secret to dominating the anxiety of waiting. Your own inner calm is the most powerful force in reshaping your dynamic, not through manipulation, but through the magnetic pull of your sovereign presence. This is the Raja Yoga model for transmuting carencia, neediness, into a power of attraction that flows from true self-mastery. We have embarked on a profound journey today, exploring the subtle and often uncomfortable truth of feeling more evolved than your partner. This deep dive has revealed that this feeling, while stemming from a genuine pursuit of self-growth, can cunningly transform into a spiritual arrogance, a trap of the mind that subtly isolates and binds us. We have seen how this perceived superiority, far from liberating us, reinforces attachment to outcomes and prevents us from seeing the sacred, karmic purpose of our relationships. It's the silent belief that you are broken for not being able to maintain a healthy relationship, when in reality, your journey is one of profound self-discovery. Through the clear lens of Raja Yoga, we understood that this internal comparison is a fluctuation of the mind, a vritti, rather than a reflection of your true I. The I, the pure sovereign self, is beyond all comparisons, beyond the ebb and flow of perceived spiritual progress. It simply is. When we allow the mind to identify with our knowledge or practices, we inadvertently create a subtle form of ego, a barrier to true connection and unconditional love. This is why the initial chemistry often fades, not because of a lack in the other, but due to a subtle shift in our internal perspective and projection. The wisdom of Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita has served as our guiding light, reminding us that true wisdom lies in equanimity, in performing our dharma without attachment to results. Your partner, in their current state, is a part of your unique karmic and dharmic path. Their apparent lack of spiritual understanding is not a roadblock, but a vital catalyst for your own growth in patience, acceptance, and unconditional love. This perspective transforms the frustrating emptiness caused by their silence or emotional unavailability into a profound opportunity for your I to shine. It is the potent realization that this pain is not meant to destroy you, but is your you asking to be seen, to be heard, to be honored. The path to emotional sovereignty, then, is not about judging or changing your partner, but about consistently bringing your awareness back to your own I. It's about cultivating the will to observe your mind's subtle tricks, to disidentify from the non-I, and to act from a place of profound inner peace and humility. This is the essence of true power, the power to govern your own inner world, regardless of external circumstances. It is the courage to transform the pain of disillusionment or a difficult relationship into a powerful catalyst for spiritual awakening. Consider the strength of Kunti, who faced immense adversity and continued to fulfill her dharma with unwavering resolve. Her power came not from controlling her circumstances or judging those around her, but from her deep spiritual connection and resilience. Or think of Radha, whose devotion was so pure and selfless that it transcended all expectations, never seeking to change Krishna, but loving him completely as he was. Their sovereignty lay in their internal state, in their unshakable connection to the divine, not in external control or spiritual comparison. What if the perceived gap between you and your partner is not a chasm meant to separate you, but a profound invitation from the universe for you to deepen your own capacity for unconditional love and self-mastery? What if their journey, unfolding at its own pace, is precisely what you need to become fully anchored in your own I? The true question is not, how can I make him more like me? But, how can I use this dynamic to further solidify my own sovereignty, my own peace, my own unwavering connection to the self, regardless of the external play? This is the journey of attracting a relationship that mirrors your own depth and consciousness, without the need for games or subtle strategies. It is the path to truly feeling whole and complete within yourself, seeing your relationship as an addition, not a necessity for your happiness. The journey we discuss here, moving from the key subtle snare of spiritual comparison to the profound liberation of inner sovereignty, is not a destination achieved overnight. It is a continuous practice, a daily devotion to your own I and the principles of Raja Yoga. Your mind, accustomed to its old patterns of thought and comparison, will protest. It has been the ruler for a long time, accustomed to its narratives of better or worse, more evolved or less. This internal resistance is a natural part of the process. Acknowledge it, thank your mind for its ingrained habits, and then, with gentle yet firm will, reclaim your inner space. Your mind is your house, and your I is its rightful sovereign. True transformation occurs not through grand gestures, but through consistent, micro-transformations of your consciousness. Each time you observe the subtle thought of judgment and choose to disidentify, each time you embrace compassion for your partner's unique journey without enabling, you are forging your will. You are strengthening your I. This ongoing internal work is the most powerful form of manifestation, as it naturally aligns your inner reality with the outer experiences you wish to attract. This is about learning to read the energy of connections, differentiating karmic attachments from a truly dharmic partnership. There will be moments of doubt, of frustration, the pain of feeling unseen or misunderstood by your partner, even while standing side by side, can be acute. The panic of abandonment, which might compel you to accept less than you deserve, is a deeply ingrained pattern. But remember, this pain, this discomfort, is not your identity. It is an experience of the non-I, the mind, the emotions, the body, which your I can observe without being consumed. The healing comes from this disidentification. It's about recognizing that the cycle of hope and disappointment, which often leaves you drained, can be broken by anchoring yourself in the unshakable peace of your I. Your spiritual path is intensely personal, yet it profoundly impacts your relationships. By releasing the need for your partner to reflect your exact stage of evolution, you free yourself. You allow space for genuine connection, for love that is not contingent on external validation or shared spiritual practices. You become a beacon of your own sovereign power, radiating a completeness that naturally attracts higher forms of connection, whether within your current relationship or in new partnerships, that align with your highest self. This cultivation of your I is the secret to an unshakable self-esteem, one that springs from deep self-knowledge, not from external praise. This profound inner work empowers you to manifest your personal power in all areas of your life, from career to finances, using the same strength you've cultivated in your relationships. If today's conversation resonated deeply within your I, if you found clarity in understanding the subtle trap of spiritual comparison, then I invite you to take a crucial step. This journey of emotional sovereignty and self-mastery is not one you have to walk alone. Your engagement helps this message reach more women who are silently struggling with similar patterns, seeking profound wisdom beyond superficial advice. If this video illuminated a new path for you, I encourage you to subscribe to this channel. By joining our community, you ensure you receive consistent insights rooted in Raja Yoga and Vedic wisdom, teachings that genuinely transform your internal landscape and consequently your relationships. Beyond subscribing, I invite you to share your reflections in the comments below. What subtle forms of spiritual arrogance have you observed within yourself or in your relationships? How has the concept of your I, as the sovereign observer, resonated with your experience? Your insights enrich this space for all of us on this path. And for those who are ready to delve even deeper into the practical application of Raja Yoga for emotional liberation, I recommend watching our video titled The Error of Seeking His Approval: How Your I Becomes Your Ultimate Authority. It offers more specific practices to solidify your self-sovereignty and release the pervasive need for external validation. Find the link in the description. Your I is calling you to a profound state of liberation. Embrace it.